Detachment isn't weakness. It's not running away. It's not coldness. It's control. The kind of control forged in pain, silence, and self-discipline. Detachment is what separates the impulsive from the powerful. It's what turns emotional chaos into battlefield clarity. The weak cling, the strong release, not because they don't care, but because they understand that strength is born in space. Detachment is the silent armor of the self-respecting. It's not about pretending, it's about choosing. You want to be respected, you want to be chaste, you want to be seen as irreplaceable, then master the art of detachment. Because when you can walk away, when you don't need validation, when you can sit in silence without begging for a response, you become unstoppable. You stop playing games. You stop losing yourself in someone else's indecision. You stop waiting, because warriors don't wait, they move, they decide, and when necessary, they walk away without hesitation. That's not weakness, that's power. Every second you spend pleading, hoping, overthinking, you're handing over your strength. You're surrendering your edge, and if you keep doing that, you'll wake up one day wondering why no one takes you seriously. The answer is simple, because you never took yourself seriously. You let someone else dictate your emotional state. You let the presence or absence of another person define your worth. Detach, not because you're heartless, but because you're focused, because your mission matters, because your peace matters, because your future is too important to be tied to someone who doesn't see your value. You don't chase, you build. You don't beg, you move forward, and if they can't see your worth now, let them feel the silence, let them feel the absence, let them feel what it's like to lose access to someone who would self-respect. You don't yell, you don't argue, you don't threaten, you just detach quietly, calmly, completely. That's discipline, that's strength, that's how you lead yourself, that's how you reclaim your power. And it won't be easy. You'll feel the urge to text, to explain, to beg for clarity, but don't. That's your test. Every emotion telling you to break, you resist it, because warriors don't react, they respond. And your response is silence, your response is space, your response is elevation, and when they realize what they lost, that's not your victory. Your victory was the moment you chose yourself. That's when you won. Detachment is not indifference, it's not giving up. It's knowing when to stop trying, when to stop bleeding for someone who won't even hand you a bandage. It's a strategy. It's survival, and most of all, it's strength. So detach, not to prove a point, but to protect your peace. Detach because your mission requires a clear mind. Detach because real strength isn't loud. It's quiet, focused, and unshakable. And when you master that, you become dangerous. High Val, you women don't compete, they walk. They don't enter emotional tug-of-wars. They don't fight for a seat at a table where they were never respected in the first place. Because they don't need to. They already know their value. They don't lower themselves to prove it. They don't chase, they observe, they assess. And when they see that the situation no longer serves them, they leave. This isn't arrogance. It's awareness. It's understanding your worth down to the bone. Because once you know who you are, once you know what you bring to the table, you stop begging for scraps. You stop trying to convince someone to pick you. You're not in the race, you're not in the game, you're in your own lane, and if someone wants access to your world, they better come correct, or not at all. You don't beg to be chosen, you choose. And if the standards aren't met, if respect isn't given, if effort isn't consistent, you don't compete with the other women. You don't try to win his attention, you disappear, cold, quiet, clean. Competing is what insecure women do. They fight over men, they chase unavailable people, they see other women as threats, they tolerate disrespect to win. But you women, they don't care who else is in the picture because if there's even a picture, they're already gone. Because they know, real connection doesn't involve confusion, real love doesn't require competition, and if it does, it's not real, it's a circus. And you women don't do circuses. She doesn't try to be more attractive than the next girl. She doesn't scream to be seen. She doesn't post for attention, because her presence alone is power, her silence is loud, her absence is felt, and her energy is rare. She knows that if she has to fight to keep someone, she's already lost. Because people who want to stay. People who value you show it, consistently, clearly, with action, not words. And if someone can't do that, if they can't rise to meet her standard, she doesn't lower it. She just walks, no warnings, no drama, just distance. That's strength. That's emotional discipline. That's how you lead your life with dignity. You don't make noise, you make decisions. And once it's made, it's done. You're not looking back. You're not checking their profile. You're not hoping they chase. You've moved on because you were never afraid to be alone. Hi, Val. You women walk because they've already fought too many inner wars to tolerate disrespect from the outside. They've rebuilt themselves in silence. They've learned the difference between attention and respect, between attraction and consistency, between games and leadership. And once you learn that, once you live that, you don't compete. You never compete, you walk. Attachment clouds judgment. It distorts perception. It makes you blind to what's real. When you're attached, you stop seeing things for what they are and start seeing them for what you want them to be. That's dangerous because in war, in leadership, in life, and yes, in relationships, clarity is everything. If you can't see clearly, you can't make smart decisions. And if you can't make smart decisions, you're done. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're compromised. Attachment is not love. It's dependency. It's fear. It's the belief that without them you're less, that you'll break without their presence, their attention, their validation. And that belief, that's your weakness. That's what makes you vulnerable. That's what gets you hurt. That's what makes you tolerate red flags, excuses, and breadcrumbs. You get addicted to the highs, tolerant of the lows. And completely disconnected from reality, you need to learn how to detach to see the battlefield, to see the truth. When you're attached, you're reacting, you're chasing, you're hoping, you're stuck. But when you detach, when you pull back, breathe, zoom out, you regain vision. You stop chasing feelings. You start analyzing facts. You stop asking, why did they do this to me? And you start asking, why am I still here? Clarity isn't emotional. It's tactical, it's cold, it's clean, it's objective. You want power in relationships. You want strength in love. Then you need clarity. You need to see their patterns. You need to see your own behavior. You need to see the games, the manipulation, the inconsistency, not through the lens of hope, but through the lens of truth. And the truth is, if you're confused, it's not love. If you're anxious all the time, it's not healthy. If you're waiting for them to change, you're stuck in fantasy, not fact. That's what attachment does. It feeds illusions. It starves your self-respect. It makes you betray yourself again and again for the hope of something that may never exist. But when you break the attachment, everything becomes clear. You see who they are. You see who you've become. And if you're honest, you see that you lost yourself in the process. That's when you take your power back. Not with revenge, not with rage, but with silence, with distance, with awareness. So if you're trapped in confusion, if you're spiraling in emotion, stop, step back, detach, reclaim your mind. Detachment isn't giving up. It's gaining vision. It's accessing the truth without distortion. It's leading yourself out of the fog. And when you see clearly, you decide clearly. And when you decide clearly, you win. Attachment is chaos. Clarity is command. You choose which side you're on every single day. Respect isn't given when you beg. It's not earned through overexposure, availability, or emotional chaos. Respect is triggered by boundaries, by silence, by self-control, and nothing triggers respect faster or more brutally than detachment. When you detach, you signal that you are not afraid to walk away. You show strength without saying a word. You demonstrate that your peace is non-negotiable. You prove that your identity isn't tied to another person's attention, affection, or approval. That's rare, that's powerful, and people respect what they can't control. You want to be respected. You want someone to take you seriously. Stop explaining, stop chasing, stop handing out access to people who don't value it. Start detaching, emotionally, mentally, energetically. Stop responding to breadcrumbs, stop reacting to mixed signals. The moment you stop playing the game, you become the one who sets the rules. You see, most people are used to manipulation. They're used to emotional reactions. They're used to power struggles, so when you do the opposite, when you don't chase, don't argue, don't compete, they don't know what to do. You throw off the pattern, you remove the power dynamic, you step out of the chaos. And that silence, that stillness, that calm withdrawal, that's what wakes people up. Because detachment says, I don't need you, I wanted you, but I'll survive without you. I don't cling, I don't beg, I don't break. And when someone sees that, they take notice. Suddenly, your presence has weight, your absence has meaning, your standards aren't just words, they're reinforced by action, and action is what builds credibility. It's what makes people listen, it's what earns respect. But if you stay too long, tolerate too much, respond too often, you become predictable, you become easy, and easy is never respected. Constant availability makes your presence cheap. Constant forgiveness makes your boundaries meaningless. That's not loyalty, that's weakness dressed up as love. The world doesn't respect desperation, it respects discipline, and detachment is discipline in its purest form. It's not about shutting down, it's about rising above. It's about knowing when to lean in and when to walk away. It's the strategic withdrawal of a warrior who knows their value, knows the terrain, and refuses to waste energy on what no longer serves the mission. So the next time someone plays games, disappears, returns, tests your boundaries, don't talk, don't plead, don't prove, detach. Respect isn't won in noise, it's earned in silence, in restraint, in the decision to choose yourself over confusion. That's how you become a force, not by overpowering others, but by commanding yourself. That's how you become unforgettable, not through presence, but through powerful, deliberate absence. And once they've felt what it's like to lose access to you, that's when respect begins. Your value isn't up for negotiation. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. The moment you let someone debate your worth, you've already surrendered. You've already made the fatal mistake. You gave them power over something they never earned the right to touch. That's your job, that's your standard, that's your line in the sand, and it doesn't move. Weak people seek validation. Strong people validate themselves. They define their value through discipline, integrity, and action, not through someone else's attention. You don't let someone's opinion dictate your self-respect. You don't shrink yourself to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. Because once you start negotiating your worth, you'll always be settling. And settling is self-betrayal. You don't explain your value, you live it, you show it. You demonstrate it by how you carry yourself, how you respond to disrespect, and how quickly you cut off anything that doesn't align with your mission. Because your energy is not cheap, your loyalty is not free, and your presence should come with a cost effort, respect, consistency. If someone isn't willing to meet you at your level, you don't lower the standard, you raise the distance. You don't make exceptions, you make decisions. That's how warriors live. Not by trying to be liked, not by trying to be chosen, but by living in a way that demands respect without a single word being said. People will test you, they'll push your boundaries, they'll see how far they can go before you snap. That's the game, and most people play it well because they've done it before. But you don't play games. You enforce reality, you don't chase, explain, or prove. You just walk, not with bitterness, not with revenge, but with clarity. When your value is set, when your identity is locked in, there's nothing to prove. You don't panic when someone pulls back. You don't break when someone disrespects you. You don't stay when someone gives you less, because you are not for sale. You are not on discount. You are not one of many, you are one of one. And if they can't see that, that's not your problem. Your value isn't something that can be adjusted based on who walks in or out of your life. It's built on your discipline, your mindset, your vision. And if someone can't rise to meet that they're not supposed to be there, let them go, let them wonder, let them sit in the absence of what they took for granted. You don't scream your worth, you don't beg to be understood. You don't hand over the keys to your peace. You move like a force, silent, controlled, grounded. That's how your value becomes untouchable. Because when you stop negotiating, the world learns to either level up or get out of your way. People talk about love like it's supposed to override everything, like it gives you permission to lose yourself, to abandon logic, to surrender boundaries, but that's weakness disguised as passion. That's chaos disguised as connection. And if you want real love, lasting love, you better bring discipline with it. Discipline in love means control. It means clarity. It means you don't abandon your standards just because your heart feels something. You feel the emotion, but you lead with principles. You don't chase when someone disrespects you. You don't lose sleep over mixed signals. You don't stay in something toxic just because it once felt good. That's not loyalty, that's addiction, and you're not here to be addicted. You're here to grow. You're here to lead yourself. Real discipline in love is walking away when it hurts. It's staying grounded when you want to fall apart. It's saying no to what feels good temporarily so you don't destroy your peace permanently. Anyone can say they love someone, but not everyone can lead themselves when that love gets tested, when it gets hard, when it gets silent, when it gets uncertain. Discipline means you set boundaries and enforce them even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's lonely, even when they don't understand, because love without respect is manipulation, and boundaries without enforcement are invitations to be walked on. If you want a relationship that thrives, you need both love and discipline. You need warmth and strength, compassion and clarity. You don't tolerate emotional chaos just because you care. You don't abandon your identity just to be chosen. You don't confuse intensity with connection. You see things for what they are, and when something no longer aligns with who you are, you don't make excuses. You make decisions. That's discipline. That's power. Discipline in love is waking up every day and choosing yourself first, not out of selfishness, but out of strength. Because when you're grounded, you love better. You give without losing yourself. You commit without collapsing. You stay open, but you stay guarded where it matters. You lead with your mind and let your heart follow, not the other way around. And when that discipline is in place, you become dangerous. You stop getting played. You stop accepting the bare minimum. You stop falling for surface-level attraction. You start demanding depth, truth, effort, respect. Not with words, but with your presence, with your standards, with the way you move. Most people will never get there. They'll fall into whatever feels good. They'll lose themselves trying to keep others. But not you, because you understand that discipline isn't just for the gym, the battlefield, or business. It's for love too, and when you master that, you don't just love harder, you love smarter, you love cleaner. You love without losing.